Economics is the study of human behavior, human action, conscious, purposeful behavior in the face of scarcity. We have resources such as time available to us, but not enough of it to do everything we'd like to do. That's what it means for a thing to be scarce. When the amount of it that's freely given by nature of this thing, of this land, of this good, of time, when there's not enough of it freely available for us to do everything we would like to do, that thing is said to be scarce. Economics is the study of our behavior in the face of that scarcity, dealing with that scarcity. The question is, how do we decide what to do, right? Well, we decide on the basis of our values. You can think of values as importance rankings. And those are all subjective. My values are different than your values. The value is completely and utterly subjective. What one person values, one man's trash is another man's treasure. You've all heard that. Well, how important, like in your value rankings, right? You rank things by importance. The most valuable things higher, the less valuable things lower. How important is a higher salary to you 10 years from now? How much do you value the ability to play video games for 6 hours a day today? And you think about those trade-offs. Well, if I play video games 6 hours a day today, that's not going to leave as much time for completing a college degree or gaining a skill set in the workforce. And that's going to mean lower earnings 10 years from now than I otherwise would have. So look, you got to balance those things. You can't do both. Well, maybe some of you can. If you got nothing else going on, you can play some video games 6 hours a day and go to college. But that's going to require you to sacrifice other things. You're not going to have much of a social life. You're not going out to the bar very often. You're not whatever. Right? What if, and this is conceivable, and I see it happen all the time with my students, what if, 6 hours a day of Fortnite or whatever you play cuts into your ability to study for your exams? In that case, there's a trade-off. There's a trade-off between the two things. More leisure time today will likely mean lower wages 10 years from now. Higher wages 10 years from now very well may mean fewer video games today. We will make the choice one way or another. Economics is not about telling us what we should choose. It's about the implications and consequences of our choices. It's about the cause and effect relationships that govern the outcomes. It's very easy when considering an action to focus exclusively on the benefits of that action or exclusively on the costs, and not to consider both together. But the economic question is always compared to what? Compared to what? Given a specific action, we compare the benefits that we expect to the costs we will confirm or that we will incur. We ask, if we're thinking if we're engaged in the economic way of thinking, we ask, what do we give up to gain this benefit? And is it worth it? We're thinking about the costs against the benefits. So I hope the context becomes a little more clear now with respect to my first few videos on education and the premium and the nature of that premium, and then thinking about the costs that we incur as we strive to gain that premium. In this course, I hope to demonstrate at least 3 things to you. The first of these is that all actions, all conscious, purposeful behavior in which you and I engage have costs. All actions have costs. That is, every act in which we engage causes us to give up something else, something. To think like an economist is to think in terms of what we call opportunity cost, which I will talk about in the next video. Opportunity cost. A second thing that I want to demonstrate to you, that I hope to demonstrate, is that social order can and does emerge organically. Certain economists refer to this as spontaneous order. Take the English language, that's a great example. It's a rational social order by which we communicate, coordinate our actions, and all sorts of other things. But the language itself has not been planned by anyone. It ceaselessly evolves in accord with the billions of interactions that occur between individuals every day. It's the result of human action, but not the result of human design. Right? Think about that. English language is a social order, but it wasn't designed. It wasn't planned by anyone. It evolves organically as you and I participate in it. We use certain words, we stop using other words, and the thing rolls along. And it's been rolling along for thousands and thousands of years. It's been in development. A third thing that I hope to show you is that good intentions are necessary. Good intentions and political will are necessary, but by no means sufficient for good public policy. So good intentions and political will are necessary, but by no means sufficient for good public policy. It's not enough to simply have good intentions and to have a political coalition that can push through your policies. That's not enough for good public policy. You must also possess wisdom. There are many well-intentioned people who are stupid. There are many large political factions which have power, which are stupid. I'm sorry, it's just the case. You can have bad laws passed by people who have goodwill, by people who have a large enough political coalition to push through their policies. But that's not enough. You can't simply rest on good intentions. It's not enough to have good feelings in your heart. If you want good public policy, you must also possess wisdom. And one of the most important things that you can study with respect to gaining the wisdom necessary to support and implement, see through good public policy is economics. There are certain cause and effect relationships that are vitally important to discover and to understand if you want to have good, sound public policy. It's not enough to have good intentions. It's not enough to have political will. Sadly, we are living in an era on both the left and the right, where number 3 here is being utterly and completely jettisoned. I am worried and concerned about that, but what can you do?